Hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome you on my podcast, Renew Motherhood. And today's episode is the secret of staying healthy. And I like to welcome Jesse Staton as my guest. And it's awesome to have you here, Jess. I'd like to hand it over to you. Please briefly introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Blanka, for having me. This is a wonderful day, and I'm looking to share my journey with you guys. So my name is Jesse. I'm the founder and owner of Golden Army Fitness, which is a health and wellness company based out of New York City. And we focus on physical fitness, nutrition, mental health, and other wellness modalities. It's great to be here.
Yes, wonderful. So really, you just mentioned it, and there are so many fields, but when I look at them, they actually complement each other perfectly. So can
Really?
you briefly describe the fields in which you are active? How does this all fit together? Well, actually, I like to give a little description or explanation. To have you here is to inspire others, to really think differently, to use your inspiration, to use what you are doing and implement
Yes.
them in their lives. Because yes, you can only gain from this, I think, and to get a little more insight of what you're doing and how this all fits together would be great.
Okay. Yes. So right now I focus on these four tenets right now. And the physical fitness component is something I really love because I know that the mind and the body should work together. So I teach a lot of one-on-one sessions and I do group workouts as well. So the group workouts are more for bringing the community together because I know it's actually better for people to work together. So we normally have a detailed focused group workout and a one-on-one detailed focused workout there too because sometimes it's hard to work out by yourself. And if you don't really know what the routine is, or you don't have a set guideline or a routine, it can really cause a lot of haywire in the brain. Like, what do I do? Do I do a push up, jumping jack? What time do I do it? And so that's why I come in. I come in with the aid, I give you the information, I watch you, I guide you through the process because my goal is to make sure you're your best. So that's why I go with the physical fitness component. Now, with the nutrition is very similar. We're talking about how can I help you eat your best so you can be strong for your family, for your generation. A lot of times because of today's society, it's hard to eat at home because we're always ordering food. We work a busy 12 to 15-hour schedule, depending on your job. Sometimes people are freelancers, entrepreneurs like the two of us. Eating is really not always on the mental mindscape. So I help to create fitness plans as far as nutritional plans, like 7-day guided nutrition plans. And when I break it down for them, which gives them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I also add snacks in there in between because you do need a snack sometimes. Because normally when you're stressed, you're going to the first guilty pleasure snack. So I try to prepare something healthy for them
Yeah.
based on their nutritional guidelines. And when it comes to mental health, that's something that I really like to deal with as well. So I like to give them coaching and talk about life issues, but I always like to bring it back to who I am as well, because normally when you're telling somebody about something, it's times to feel like you're being a drill instructor, like do this and do that. But I don't really like that approach. I like
Mhm.
to talk about my journey, about who I became as a man and where I'm going and what I've learned about life so it can reflect back evenly because I want it to be an even exchange of information to where you can open up and feel comfortable with sharing your space because when I enter your space, you're giving me an opening to talk to you. So I want you to feel at ease, like you're talking to your brother, your mom, your sister, uncle, whoever. And when it comes to wellness as well, which is the same thing, and meditation, I create guided meditations, which are centered on worry, the seven chakras, and different things that we're facing as well. Because I know we're always over analyzing and we're always worrying about a lot of things. So I break down these different meditation practices into a 5-minute format that you could easily digest, where you could walk down the street, you can be in the office on your computer. I try to make everything very simplified and give it detailed information because I want you to feel a part of this journey, but I also want you to be in command of it too, because when you're in command, I'm happy about it. So that's me.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, yes, I would say what perhaps you agree. If
Hmm,
you do a lot of fitness, you probably need different nutrition.
you
So
definitely do.
it's not the same as you are having office job and just sitting and doing
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Probably
yeah.
this will change. And I think not everyone is aware of this, what really
Right.
helps him or her to grow and to become a better version. what I found out actually for myself just
Mhm.
is if I eat carbohydrates in the
Mhm.
noon,
Yeah.
my brain doesn't work the way it should.
Right,
So
but
I
you get, like,
always need
memory
my
foam.
greens, my vegetables to really to get the energy inside. I don't know if this is for everybody, but this is just how my brain works. Bringing back the energy to women and to mothers is so crucial because they are present. They should be present with their children and be there and active and handle different situations. And I think this
Yes.
is wonderful because being healthy in the mental state, in the physical state, and yes, to find the right nutrition, there's always all things work
Yeah, it
together.
is.
And even the meditation to calm down again, center
Yes.
yourself, and to act from the center. This is wonderful
Mhm.
what you're doing. What is driving you to do those things? Is there a story behind? Why do you do this?
There's actually a story. Try to keep it short, but short and long. So my fitness journey started for me personally when I was 25. So when I was 25, I weighed 350 pounds. Right now, I weigh like 216 or something of that nature. And at that time, I was an alcoholic. I was eating 5 to 6 meals a day. And I was dealing with a lot of childhood trauma that I never dealt with in my teenage life. So a lot of that stuff became weighing down on me. So I started eating in order to get rid of the pain. And
Mhm.
so one day I realized that enough was enough. Literally New Year's Eve or the month before New Year's, I sat down. I was saying to myself, what do I have to do? I was crying. I said, how do I change my life? How do I make my life better? And so I said, I'm just going to start working out. So the first thing I did on New Year's Day, for the first time in years, actually, I started working out. I started working out once a day, just walking around the house with like 1 pounder weights, walking around just fast paced, sprinting around the house. And I said,
Mhm.
okay, this is good. This is fun. I like this. I looked at the scale. I said, look at me. I lost a half a pound. I was like, yes, a half a pound. Amazing. But then I went back to the scale an hour later, like, oh, I gained it right back. I was like, no, this is not enough. I was like, okay, so what do I do? So I realized I needed to add more days. So I added 2 days, 3 days, five, six, seven. And so I was doing 7 days straight for 7 months. And over a period of time, I lost 150 pounds. I'm sorry, for
Wow.
6 months. I lost 150 pounds. Another thing I did was I changed my eating routine. I started going to bed early. I
Mhm.
started getting up early and I stopped eating too much food. So I started eating more fruits and vegetables. And
Mhm.
so later on, fast forward into my adult life, which is older actually, I later on created my company, Golden Army Fitness, because of COVID. I was working 2 other jobs. I had a clothing company called Woke and Fly Clothing. And my other business was I was a stock supervisor too in Marshalls. And I had another business. I worked in a community center with children as a co-locator, providing community programming. So I had a lot of things going on at that time. So once COVID hit, my jobs furloughed me, and all I had was a clothing company still. And so one day I was just getting frustrated. I was watching the news, all the social restrictions and things of that nature, and people weren't going out. And I was saying, what can I do to help people? And so I was talking to my brother. And so I decided to create a running group called the Woke and Fly Runner. It's a free community running group. So every
Wow.
Saturday, moms, kids, and they could bring their babies on the stroller, dads, we were just running every Saturday in different parks. We were
Oh,
talking
wow.
about stretching and talking about life issues, giving them a chance again to reconnect because of COVID. As we know, it was hard to talk to someone. Most
Mhm.
times people had 6 feet apart between them and we were social distancing. So this was a way to bridge the gap and to get over the anxiety of the stress because so many people were depressed. They
Yeah.
weren't even going outside. And we created our own slogans. We had our own t-shirts. We had our own hoodies. And they were bringing their dads and bringing their moms. And so I realized this a year later that I actually have a knack for this. I can actually do this. I can bring people together. And a year later, Golden Army Fitness was born, actually, late 2021. Golden Army Fitness was born. The name was born, and I drew the logo. And I was trying to figure out the name really. I was taking psychedelic mushrooms, actually. And the name came to me called Golden Army Fitness because then I put it with
Mhm.
the logo, and after that, it just fit. That's pretty much my early beginnings. It was a lot of challenges, a lot of changes, but I believe during the worst times where you can find your heart and you can find your strength to care for others, not just yourself.
That's great.
So that's me.
Yeah. Wow. Well, actually eating, you said something like eating,
Yes.
to eat. Do you think
Yeah.
that this is common? That there are people eat to get rid of pain?
Yes, I think a lot of times we eat to get rid of the pain, especially when it comes to sugar or
Mhm,
even alcohol. We're trying to find either, usually we're looking for something that's either sweet or salty to
mhm.
either aid us in certain parts of our body and our mind. Because as we know, when we eat something sweet, the dopamine levels go up. We get a pleasurable feeling, but a lot of times it doesn't last. You can eat a
Yeah.
sugary drink, it's like, yeah, have some soda. Like a little kid, they get really hyper, like, you see the kids jumping around and it doesn't last. You have a bad burnout. So you rise up high, then you crash back down. So I think as a society, we always have coping mechanisms, especially mothers as well. When mothers, they usually have to do the job of 10 people. You have your kids, you have your husband, you have your own business, you have your mom, your dad, and then you have other things that pop up in between. And as mothers, I'm not a mother, obviously, but as mothers, you have a lot of different hats that you wear. Fathers do as well, but I think we use food as a way to deal with those stresses because
Mhm.
it's easily and readily available to us, and it doesn't really talk back. It doesn't argue with us. It doesn't
No.
give us complaints, so it becomes our own friend. But the problem is we have to build boundaries between the sweets and our lifestyle and try to realize that when we're using coping mechanisms, we become codependent to that coping mechanism. And then we start to lose our sense of self because we only rely on that. And that becomes another drug and another way of wearing another shirt or another coat of armor that keeps us from actually realizing what is the real problem. A lot of times we don't dig deep into the real source of the problem. We
Yeah.
only look at the symptom. We don't really look at the cause of the issues, which are actually more ingrained into our psyche. And once we flesh that out by going through the dark nights of the soul, we're able to transform our mind and we find that we're more brilliant than we thought. So that's what I think about it.
Yes, that's great. So this
Mm.
actually from physical leading to the mental side to think,
Yeah.
yes, you have to be aware. What are you doing here? If you eat something, well, we have got a saying like
Mhm.
seconds on your tongue, but a lifetime on your hips. So
You should put that on the shirt. Put that on the shirt. I love that. I really love that, Blanka. That's nice.
become aware what you're doing, what you are eating, and relate to you, your body, and what do you really need? Do you need
Right.
this? Do you really need the sugar, what you are eating, or do you need something for your brain, for your mental health? And
Right.
then if you are able to switch this, I think, to say, I don't need the food, I need something for my mental health. Take this, what is really good for your mental health, and what could it
Mhm.
be? What would you suggest? What can people do others if they don't eat?
Now, when it comes down, if you're not going to be eating a lot of food, you can try meditations.
Mhm.
Guided meditations are really good. You can find a 5-minute guided meditation. Like myself, I make guided meditations, and there are other teachers that actually make brilliant guided meditations. There's a great speaker out there. She talks about mental health. Her name is Till Swan.
Mhm.
She's really good on the YouTube circuit. And other people like Infinite Waters, he's really good as well. But I say try guided meditation and create a wellness journal. Write down some of the things that are going on in your mind and try to dissect them that detailedly. Look at whatever it is that's actually stressing you out. And also another thing is declutter your home. A lot of times we add in so many, we go shopping, we
Mhm.
buy a lot of things that we don't even need just to cope. As another way, if we're not going to eat a lot, we're going to buy a lot. So we
Yeah.
have to make sure, like, okay, do I really need that shirt? Do I really need that electronic device? Look at some of the things in your house. Make sure your home is your serene sanctum. Make sure it's your Valhalla, your heaven. Try to add things into your house. Get some plants. Plants are really good for helping you with stress because you're taking more time to learn about the plant and you're caring for something outside of yourself that's actually cleaning the air. One of the best plants are like a spider plant. That's a really good plant for cleaning the air in the house too and get rid of some of the bad particulates. Another plant that's actually good for you too is an aloe plant. So adding certain things into your house, the feng shui of it at all, switches that around to change your perspective. And another thing too, if you're not going to eat a certain way, you can also look at what's in your phone. What are some of the things that are triggering you? And
Yeah.
try to change some of that as well. Because a lot of times we're looking at things on social media that don't really help us feel good. I like to look at silly stuff all day myself sometimes, but sometimes I gotta stop. I could doom scroll for hours, but okay, you know what? I got a job to do. Let me slow down. Adding little tricks into your day, meditation, wellness practices, a journal, getting plants, going out into the sun, do
Mhm.
some sun gazing with your visors on, of course. Do some safe sun gazing for like 5 to 10 minutes. Look by the sun and say an affirmation. Talk about how wonderful you are. Talk about how beautiful you are. Talk about how do you see yourself coping with the things that you're dealing with? Because in a society that we're in today, there are so many different stressors. But find one or two things that resonate with you and stick with those two things and amplify it. And it really helps.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Actually, even to find your path, to
Mhm.
find out what's good for you, I like this because we are all individuals, and sometimes what fits me doesn't suit to you, and this might be a good advice. So, what would you say has been your biggest mistake on your journey?
My biggest
People can learn
mistake,
from.
my biggest mistake was probably in the beginning of my journey was just not eating enough because I just wanted to lose weight so fast. So normally when you're trying to lose weight, take your time. You don't have to go cold turkey and just say throw everything out. Like take your time in moderation and don't look at the scale every single day. Because in the beginning, I was doing it every day. Like, okay, I lost a pound. Maybe I shouldn't eat until like later 8 hours, or I lost another pound. Maybe I should eat again. So
Mhm.
you're going to be triggered and your mood swings.
Mhm.
Balance your mood swings. You become very cranky when you're losing weight. So balance your mood swings with meditation. So for me, I started meditating more and it was able to
Mhm.
help me deal with the stress. Like I said, add in the meditation and go for a long walk and realize when you're losing weight, everybody around you may not understand what's happening. Because remember, some of the people that you're eating with may be still eating the bad foods that you used to eat. So
Mhm.
try to understand that they're not always going to be able to understand your journey and be compassionate to them too. Don't try to force them to do what you're doing. So that's some of the stuff that I had to learn.
So actually, here comes another point that can prevent you or yes from doing the right things is
Yeah.
if your environment still does the things that you did and you want to change, how can you
That's
deal
right.
with this?
The best
But
thing you
they
can
want
do
you to
is
stay with them and say, hey, why don't you eat this hamburger and I don't know, pizza and whatever? Don't be
right,
that
right.
silly. Just eat with us or drink. Alcohol is a social drink. And if you can
Yes.
say, okay, you can, but I don't, this
Mhm.
needs a special strength, I think.
Yes, yes. It takes a lot of discipline and focus, and you need to have a reason for why you're losing the weight. Whatever it is, it could be something as I just want to fit into a size 5 jeans or 16 or whatever, or I just want to walk outside and feel comfortable in my body again.
Mm,
Whatever that is, find a reason and visualize. I did a lot of that. You should visualize yourself being stronger and healthier. Sit quietly by yourself and look at each part of your body. This is what I was doing, and I visualize it being stronger, being more in shape. And I'll keep that visualization, get tunnel vision, focus on your thing. But it's very hard sometimes to do that, of course, depending on your environment. Because if you're in a house where everybody normally eats, we'll just say burgers and a lot of fried food, and they order out, you have to understand that their journey is separate from yours now.
mm.
And they're still great people, but you can't judge them. And even sometimes they may judge you because they still want you to be the person that you used to be.
Mhm,
Try to separate for yourself from that and try not to get too involved in arguments or feeling like you have social anxiety because you can no longer, what they say, go out and drink as much as everyone used to do. You can't order as much bad food as they used to do. So separate yourself. If you're going to drink, now you have to slow it down into
mm.
moderation. Have a disciplined mindset that this is something that I'm going to do for the long term, not just for 1 month, for the next 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Keep a focus and believe that this is something that's on the right path. No matter how slow it is, slow and steady wins the race. It really does. You have to be like a tortoise. Let it be yourself, be a tortoise. Take your time because when you're rushing, you begin to make mistakes that you didn't see coming. So take your time and realize that sometimes you have to make your own meals that are separate from everyone else. It doesn't, oh, yeah, you might have to get snacks in between and make sure you're acquiring the right amount of calories, you're eating the right amount of food, and that you still feel healthy and enough energy because your body is used to a certain way of eating. That another thing is going to affect your mind is the way you used to eat. So try to be patient with yourself on the journey.
Here, I think here really comes a coach inside the journey, doesn't it? Because I think it's almost not doable to do it really alone. If your environment stays the same and you say, okay, I like to change, well, I think it's easier if you have got someone on your side who's telling
Yes.
you, I'm here, let's do
Right.
this, let's make it. And so at least you have one who can support you.
It's
If you
true. Give me a team, a friend, something.
yes,
Something.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
would be easier. Yes. Do you consider it as your job to motivate people who come to you and want to improve their life regarding health?
Good question. I think it's my path in life. I think it's my divine guided path to help people become their best selves because I want you to stay with me. But if I can give you enough knowledge and enthusiasm for a week or a month, that's okay with me because I know that I helped you to become a better person for yourself and your family. And if you're healthy, your children will be healthy and your husband will be healthy and the people at your job will be healthy because it takes one person to believe and go through the steps of belief and then everyone else believes. So I think it's my divine path, my calling in life to enrich the lives of others because I feel I have been given something like because we're all special, but I feel I've been given something that I should give back in abundance. That's me. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yes, that's great. So
Mhm.
what would you say makes you unique? What's your superpower?
My superpower is my patience. That's
Mhm.
the number one patience. Patience, you have to be patient with the process. You
Mm,
have to be patient with yourself when you're training. You have to be patient with learning new things. You have to be patient with your clients. You have to be patient with structuring a fitness routine. And you
mm,
have to be patient as an entrepreneur. You have to be patient with structuring your business and learning new things and acquiring new tools and asking questions and not trying to be a know-it-all. So you have to be patient with your mind. And the next one is my ability to just be fearless and to not care about what's going to happen next. Just be a risk taker. You have to be radical in this world. To make
mm.
change, you have to be radical. You can't just stay the status quo. You have to try different things and do different things to get a result that you're looking for. And sometimes you're going to have mistakes. Mistakes lead to greatness because it's not really a mistake, it's just a lesson. So I think those are my two superpowers. Yeah.
That's great. Yes, I love this. Mistakes are just lessons. And we are
Yeah.
not taught that mistakes are just lessons. We are taught
Exactly.
that you should not never make a mistake because otherwise, I
Exactly.
don't know, you will be killed or I don't know what will happen. But
Immediately.
it's yes, immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, like, "Oh, okay, I made a mistake, gotta work."
Don't make mistakes. If you have got a mistake, I make a red mark on this and you see this and this is
Right, right. It's
so
true, 'cause moms do this moms, they are constantly working. They're constantly working to fulfill different obligations and goals, and when it comes to mistakes, mothers sometimes can worry about, "Did I do this with my son wrong? Did I do this with my daughter wrong? Did I make the wrong meal? Am I losing the right amount of weight? Am I wearing the right outfit?" They're always worrying about mistakes because they're always putting their energy outside, caring about the entire family, and so they're worrying about mistakes. In reality, mothers are doing a great goddamn job. Thank you. They're doing amazing. The mothers around the world are amazing. They're doing a great job. And I think moms worry about mistakes more, I think, than most people think because they're constantly wondering what is the outcome of a situation that they're in. Because you're talking about mistakes. So I think I put it back to moms because I know I'm not a mom, but I've seen my mother and my aunts and my grandma, they always worry about different things and they always wonder they made a mistake, but not in reality, didn't. They're learning too. Even if
Mhm.
you're a first time mother or you've been a mom for 5, 10, 15 years, you're going to make a lot of learning moments in your life. Moments. And these moments are going to teach you. And it's okay to show it to your children too. Like, okay, let me show you my work. Like if you're in school, the teacher says, show your work, right? So the mom sometimes is showing their work. They're teaching you how to cook. And so in the process of learning how to cook, you're going to make mistakes. They're teaching you how
Absolutely.
to go to the bathroom. In the process, yeah, right? In the process of going to the bathroom, your mom is teaching you how to go to the bathroom now. She wants you to stop wearing that pamper, learn how to sit on that toilet because I don't want to clean the pampers anymore. So there's going to be some mistakes made in that process, but they're teachable lessons.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, Mistakes are necessary. It's
Mhm.
who we are. We need
Yes.
them. Yeah.
So we actually have to calm down when it comes to mistakes, and we
Yeah.
have to be more relaxed about this, I think.
We really do. Yes.
And so
Yes.
we can take the lesson from it.
We're like
And
woosah.
be aware that it is a lesson and not a punishment.
Right. Yeah, you're not gonna get beat. No, that's it. No, you're gonna
No,
be
no,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
Yes, you also like to help kids.
Yes, yes. Love
Tell
that.
us a little about this. What's it about?
I think it's important that we have a lot of figures who are masculine and feminine figures who are strong in the community, because I believe men and women should always show the children how to be strong, how to show their emotions, and how to be vulnerable, and also how to lead. Because in a society, we need leaders, not followers. We need children to become leaders, to become outspoken in their own way, shape, and fashion, not in an established narrative. So for me, I teach a lot of group workouts, and I also do a lot of workouts with children. I have an obstacle course that I create. I actually did an event actually last week. I partnered with Greater Jamaica Development, and we did an outdoor workout event for Juneteenth. And during that event, I worked out with a whole bunch of children. I had little girls running with me. I had a parachute for them. I had the agility ladder, the agility cones. And I noticed that all the kids really want to do is learn new things. You just
Mhm.
have to create a system for them to learn, structure it in a way where it's fun and it's educational, and you'll get the best reward. I try to meet children where they're at. I worked in a community center, like I said earlier, and the person that I worked with, her name was Frances Platt. She ran the community center. She taught me a lot about dealing with children because I never knew any of these things. And she gave us a lot of different training modules on how to deal with stress management, because a lot of kids, they come in and sometimes they're very stressed out. And you
Mhm.
have to be patient and you have to listen to them, but don't try to tell them what to do, but create a structured environment so they can feel comfortable. And so that's what I learned from her. And I try to incorporate that into my teachings when I do kid workouts or when I talk to children about my personal experience. I don't want to talk to them like a child or talk to them like I'm a teacher in a school, because they've already done that. So I try to talk to them like a regular person, because I know kids are very important to our society.
Mhm.
And if we start young teaching them the basics of integrity, honesty, stamina, loyalty, humility, fun, enjoyment, and just being creative and exploring creativity, we can enhance our society. So that's why it's so important to me, because I grew up in a neighborhood where there were a lot of issues when it comes to fatherhood. And I noticed that we need strong fathers and we need strong mothers to be present. And if they can't be there, you need a mentor, someone in your neighborhood who has the skills or who's vulnerable enough to help you.
Yes, that's it. I think, and it makes me a little sad if you say there are so many children just stressed out because
Yeah,
it's childhood. They should be open. They
right.
should be join life. So shouldn't have so many tasks on that they should worry about anything.
I
So
agree.
where does the stress come? I don't know. Perhaps, well, actually from COVID, there is a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
things going
true.
on.
A lot of children, because they a lot of kids, they were like 12, 13, or 14, and they grew up during a pandemic. So they never really had the chance to go through certain important years, which is learning about interactions, learning about communication, learning about looking people in the eye and talking to them directly, because of the mask and the social distancing, they weren't really getting those socializing skills that they needed for the first 2 years,
Mhm.
and a lot of kids developed anxiety because their parents were trying to keep them safe, which was the right thing to do. But it was hard for them to learn how to communicate other than just being in a house and communicating via social media. And so it made it harder for them to learn about facial features, learn about when someone's happy and sad, not just using an emoji, actually seeing their face so you could know what they're really trying to say. And it goes beyond that too. It goes back to 10, 15, 20 years. Kids have so much stress because they're dealing with stress. Usually they were born with situations in their life, their environment, whether it be from their parents, or whether it be from their social economic environment, which causes a lot of stress. And so
Mhm.
they can wake up with a lot of stress. So I believe that having like guided meditation in your school, having mindfulness training, those things really help kids. Because I can tell you for sure, when I was a kid, I hung out with a lot of other kids. And so we always hung out together. We played baseball, football, basketball. We chased girls around, do all types of things that young men did. And we learned about socializing because we were outside all the
Mhm.
time. And so society has changed a lot. I believe by having recreational activities with an educational component, it really helps the kids
Yes.
de-stress, you know?
Yes, that's great. So
Yeah,
what is your specific offer? You said you have got your nutrition and fitness center. Can people reach out to you? Where can they find you? What
yeah.
can they get from you?
They can actually find me on my multiple accounts. So my one of my accounts, I actually have two Instagram accounts. So my first business account is Golden Army Fitness underscore at .com, or they can just Google search me Golden Army Fitness, one word, and you'll see my Google business account. They can also find me on LinkedIn, which is Jesse Staten. That's Jesse, last name Staten, Staton. And they can find me on YouTube as well, which is Golden Army Fitness J and a few other accounts, but they can just Google search me. So when they do come, depending on what they want, I can actually help them with graphic design because I do that as well. I
Oh,
help people doing graphic design. I do a
you
lot
haven't
of different
mentioned
things.
this.
I do a lot of things. I do graphic design. I do audio work. I make my own shirts. So I do a lot of things. So if they want to reach me, they can always set up an appointment. So I offer free 30-minute consultations. So we could talk about your fitness journey, your nutritional mindset, and I give them a nutritional formatted document that they can fill out. And then I go over it with them. I create a structured fitness plan or a structured nutritional plan, depending on what they want, and I could set them up for different various packages. If they just want to do a one-on-one for the first time, that's okay too. But if they want to do a 1 week package or a 2 week package or a 1 month package or a 3 month package, I offer various packages depending on the situation that they want. And I'm always willing to talk. Like I said, a 30-minute free consultation, we can get a lot done by just talking in 30 minutes.
Oh, yes, that's great. So it's not only in person, they can reach out to you also online, and you
Yes.
can help them all over the world, right?
Yeah, I'm
That's
always
great.
available.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you here to really give so much value around mindset, fitness, nutrition, staying healthy, dealing with your life, finding your
Yes.
path. And this is
Yes.
awesome. We covered, I think, many points.
It was fun. Blanka, you are amazing. I love your energy. You are absolute gem. You're a special person. You're a wonderful woman.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Thank you for being my guest here. And yes, stay tuned